Authentically Me, Regina B, is back with another video, 30 Days of Hope and Help for the Adult Child of a Narcissistic Parent by Debbie Tudor. For those of you that are new to the channel, we are going through this therapy workbook. And from the title, it says for adult children of narcissistic parents. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I really recommend that you do, just so that you know where we are. I also went through this where I actually sat down and journaled and did all the work. That is the first few videos that I did for this channel. And I'm just revisiting it now, 2 years later, just to see where I'm at, kind of like a litmus test, just to see the progress that I've made throughout this journey. I do recommend this book if you are the survivor of a narcissistic parent. She has done a beautiful job putting this together. This book is about hope and help. It's not about begrudge and don't forgive. So let's get into it. We are to day 10. And if you stay tuned at the end of the video, I have some different updates for you guys about just what's going on with me and in my life. So if you care, stay till the end, or you can also fast forward to the end. So we are to day 10. Let's get to day 10. Here we go. Let me get comfortable. Okay, so it says day 10, taking the blame. Daddy yells all the time. I think it's because I don't keep my room clean enough. Little therapy client and scapegoat in training. In a narcissistic parent household, there is usually an enabler parent and a golden child, both who are invested in keeping their position by keeping the narcissist happy. The golden child is excused, allowed to misbehave, and may even be encouraged to torment the scapegoated child. This leaves the scapegoated child confused, turned inward, trying to figure out what they did wrong or how they are fundamentally wrong to deserve such treatment. Please hear this. There is nothing wrong with you, and the family dysfunction was not the fault of a little child. Like the innocent animal in ancient times who was chosen to represent the sins of the people, you were chosen for various reasons to be the one that was blamed. Wow. Okay, so my first thoughts on that, I like how she quoted a little therapy client / scapegoat in training, because the quote, again, I'll read it. Daddy yells all the time. I think it's because I don't keep my room clean enough. And I make sure that when I have to use my big voice, because having 4 kids, it gets to be a loud house. And so you have to be able to, if 3 kids is bickering and yelling and hollering and they're in an emotional state of distress, you got to be able to be like, hey! But I always know that when I raise my voice, it startles them. And so a lot of times, not every single time I have to raise my voice, but a lot of times I will tell them it's frustrating that I have to yell to get your attention, because the first time I said it, no one listened, no one stopped doing what they were doing. The second time I said it, the same exact thing. But when I use my big loud voice, my frustration voice, then you guys are wide-eyed looking at me all scared. So I try to make sure that I explain to them why I am using my frustrated voice, my loud voice. And if I notice any of them go off into their room, or they're quiet, or they're missing, I usually will go in there and be like, what's going on? What are you doing? And sometimes they'll just be like, I want to play. And then sometimes it's like, I'm really upset because Harper said I did this, but I didn't do it. And so they have different reasons. But yeah, kids, that's just how our minds work. And so I try to make it a point to, if I see them feeling exasperated or dejected, I try to address it and say, parents, we have feelings and we get frustrated too. It's not that I'm mad at you, I'm mad at the situation and what happened, and it makes me feel frustrated. And I may bring up something to remind them of times when they felt frustrated. And then that helps us be able to relate to each other. And so, yeah, there's always an enabler parent, like she discussed. Your enabler parent can be present or non-present. And everybody wants to keep the narcissist happy. The golden child is excused and allowed to misbehave. Now, when I was younger, I was the golden child in my mom's in that whole scenario, because my sister left and was never allowed to come back home at the age of 13. So I was the golden child. And I would say even when I was younger, I can remember times of antagonizing my sister and like doing little things, and she would get in like really big trouble, and then I would feel bad, like, wow, I didn't know it was gonna go there. But yeah, so as a child, I wasn't allowed to misbehave or excused or anything like that. But I will say, you know, I got more gifts, more material things. You know, obviously I lived with her, so that was, and I really think that's why there's such a divide between me and my sister. And I totally understand feeling that way, like, dang, I'm your daughter too. Why you didn't let me come back and raise me? So anyway, but yes, I agree. It says this leaves the golden child or the scapegoat child confused, turned inward, trying to figure out what they did wrong or how they are fundamentally wrong to deserve such treatment. As you guys know, and for those of you that don't know, I struggle with that so much. And I'm always like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? You know, in relationships, or if I just wake up in the morning, I'm trying to think about what I did the night before, the day before. And so it's a daily struggle for me. It's a daily reminder. Hold one second. My kids' friends wanting to play. So let me get this through. Yeah, so like I was saying, I struggle with that, and I have to make sure that when I'm mindful and when I'm present and I feel myself doing it, I remind myself, there's nothing wrong. God's not mad at you. You're not bad. You know, and I have to constantly remind myself, and I know that that eventually will be something that I won't have to worry about, because the more I practice it, the better I will get at it. But I will say it's like a struggle run. It's like a marathon. Like, I have to remind myself, like, God is not mad at you. You are not bad. You haven't done anything wrong. Even if you've done something wrong, Jesus forgives you. Just move on. And I try to make sure that when I'm dealing with my other relationships, that I don't spiral into that too. Like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, why is he saying this? Or why is she saying that? And it's just like, I know my heart, and I know that I genuinely don't try to do anybody wrong. Now, just like any human being, I may have wrong moods at the time and everything like that, but I genuinely don't sit there and think of ways to do wrong to another person. Like, that's too mastermindish. That's too, like, that's not even my personality. Like, I have ADHD. I'm like a squirrel outside. I can't sit and think for a long time to mastermind a plan to wrong someone or to bother someone mentally or whatever. But I love that she says, please hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. And the family dysfunction was not the fault of a little child. And again, that's something that I had to unlearn. My children can't make me do anything. And that goes along with James chapter 1. God doesn't tempt anyone. He's not tempted, and he doesn't tempt anyone. But we ourselves are tempted when we give thought to sin. And after giving thought to that sin, it blossoms up. I'll put it in the description, but it basically is saying, like, you can't be made to do anything. Nobody can make you do anything. Somebody can cut you off in traffic. They can't make you chase them. They can't make you cuss them out. They can't make you think in your head that they did that on purpose because it's just you. You know, nobody can make you do anything. It's when you choose to do whatever you chose to do in response to whatever you responded to, whether it's joyfully, with anger, with frustration, with gladness, with happiness, all of that. So it's not the fault of a little child. A little child doesn't even have control of their own emotions and behaviors. To be able to be that big and that powerful and that perceptive, to be able to control an adult and make them do something. So I love that. And like she said, like an innocent animal in ancient times who was chosen to represent the sins of the people, you were chosen for various reasons to be the one that was to blame. Excellent analogy, Debbie, because it's just like, I remember the first time as I wasn't a kid. Anyway, in my mind, I can remember the first time I saw a baby lamb. It was on America's Funniest Home Videos, and this video clip was of this little lamb that was in the house. And it was so funny because they don't walk, they hop. You know, before they're able to like walk, they hop. And I just saw this beautiful little baby lamb and I was like, oh. And I was like, that's a baby lamb. Like, you know, you see it in the pictures and, you know, but to see it and looking at it all innocent like that, hopping around, and then to think about how they were used in the sacrifice in the Old Testament to atone for the sins, to represent that this innocent creature is spilling its blood for the things that I've done. And, you know, even, you know, I still can get a little bit of more knowledge and understanding of Old Testament, you know, sacrifices. I have a little bit of it, but it's supposed to represent, like, look at your blood-stained hands. And this, you know, this is the way that we atone for it. And it prepared us for what Jesus did for us as well. He wasn't to blame for anything. He just came, said who he was. If you want to rock with me, you can rock with me. If you don't, you don't. And because he knew who he was, where he came from, he didn't let them question him like that. He went around healing people. He went around being around people he wasn't supposed to be around. And it was just like, nah, you got to get up out of here because you're changing the system of things. So anyway, but yeah, and he was the atonement for millions and millions of people for us here today. So let's go into the affirmation for today. I now see myself as I truly have been since birth, a loving, innocent person who took the blame for the unhappiness of my family. I now hand that blame back, and it doesn't belong to me. We repeat this 3 times. I now see myself as I truly have been since my birth, a loving, innocent person who took the blame for the unhappiness of my family. I now hand that blame back, as it doesn't belong to me. 3rd and final time. I now see myself as I truly have been since birth, a loving, innocent person who took the blame for the unhappiness of my family. I now hand that blame back, and it doesn't belong to me. What this means to me, I see myself as I truly am, and I am a loving person. Now, I wouldn't go so far. Is that a fly? Sorry, y'all. I wouldn't go so far as to be like, I'm innocent, you know, because I know that all of us sin and fall short of the glory of God. And so I tend to not look at myself like I'm an innocent person. But I am a loving person. I am an understanding person. I am a complimentary person. I love to compliment people. I love to compliment the atmosphere. I love to compliment the situation. You know, like I like to put people at ease. I like to make jokes. I'm humorous. I'm easy to talk to. I'm friendly. I'm encouraging. Like I'm dope. I am, and you are too. And if you never said that to yourself before, just look in your mirror. I have a mirror right here. I am dope. I'm dope. And if you rock with me, you rock with me. If you don't, you don't. Like I am the image of God. I am a human being living in this existence, having gone through all these different experiences that make me who I am. And who I am is just fine. And the way I am is just fine. And the way that I handle things in my life is just fine for me. Because that's who I am. And that's who God sees me as. And if he wanted me to be different, trust me, by now I would be different. Like the things that I look at myself, whereas before I'd be like, oh, that's wrong, that's bad. If it was supposed to be different, it would have been different. So that's what that means to me. And I now hand back that blame. Somebody else's happiness is not my responsibility. I'm not some jester here to just bring you laughter and joy and to be just this dumping pot when you don't feel good, because you know that I have those words that can uplift and will uplift. And I genuinely mean the things that I say when I am being encouraging or being uplifting or complimenting. But that doesn't mean that you get to place your happiness or unhappiness on me, or that whenever you want to rant and rave about something, you think I'm just some kind of dumping ground, because that gets old after a while. And I'm not. And so I hand that back. Your happiness is your own. And if you want to chase after happiness, have fun. It's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. It's kind of like thinking that's going to be sunny every day, or thinking that the season is not going to change. You might want to go live somewhere like Hawaii because the weather is going to change. The seasons are going to change. And so that's the same with our emotions, and that's just how we are as human beings. So that's what that means to me, and I really like that affirmation. So it says, journal to heal, exploring the past. Write about a painful interaction with the narcissist, then rewrite the interaction, only this time with you saying the things you wish you had said when unjustly blamed for an issue. Be angry if you want. No one will see it except my survivor thrivers. Get it out of your body for good. Okay, so I remember what I wrote when I originally did this, and just thinking back, I don't feel anger. Instead of going way, way back to like when I was little, I would say when all of this finally happened 4 years ago, 4 or 5, and I originally got ghosted, before I ever knew what narcissistic abuse was, before I ever even knew that the silent treatment was a form of abuse. Like, I didn't know, I didn't have these terms and definitions, and I didn't know that I just thought it was like a really mean thing that she would do when she would get mad at me. But I didn't know that it was a form of abuse and control to, control you and get you saying and doing and behaving the way that they want you to behave. And I will say, I remember that phone call where I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go back and forth. Like, I forgive you, I hope you can forgive me, but I'm not gonna go back and forth with it. And, because her background is in psychology, she uses these words that make you think, okay, we're gonna move past that. But then it would come right back around like a boomerang to this particular topic that I was like, I want to move past it. And I can remember when she hung up on me, and when I was just like, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. I'll never forget. She was hollering some, and then she was like, you self-righteous bitch, and hung up. And I was just like, it made me chuckle because I wasn't surprised, because I could hear the tantrum, if you will. I could hear it starting to build the more I refused to just concede, to just be like, okay, you're right. Okay, I was wrong for saying that. Okay, I didn't mean that. Okay, you're not jealous of me. Because that's what she kept coming back to, of like, you said you're jealous of me. And I'm like, I know I said it, and I just want to move past it. Because I said what I said, and the reaction that I got was that of someone that has just been called out for being jealous. And we've all been jealous of something or someone at some point in our life. And anyway, so that interaction, I feel like I don't wish I would have said anything differently. In fact, I am proud that I stood my ground. And I'm glad that I remained calm. I've never cursed her out or called her out her name or nothing like that. I've only defended myself, or I've only gone back and been like, okay, maybe I was wrong for this. But this particular time, I was just like, you know, we can move forward, but I'm not gonna go back. And mind you, this was after 2 years of having the silent treatment. And so I remember when she hung up and she yelled that at me, I just was like, I mean, I knew it was coming, I heard it. Because the more I remained calm, the more I was just like, I don't want to go back to that. I want to move forward. We can't change anything from 2 years ago. And the more that I just kept being like, I'm not going back, I'm not going back, it just built. And she said that, and it was just like, of course. And it's always been to attack my faith and to belittle me and my faith. Because anybody that knows me, and I don't know if you can sense this through these videos, who's self-righteous is not me. A self-righteous person doesn't wake up and be like, oh Lord, what did I do wrong yesterday? You know, or did I say something wrong? Or did I? No, that's not a self-righteous person. And I mean, I can be a bitch when I want to, but I don't know. It's just not something that I like. I talk to people like this, and I don't care about nothing. That's not my personality. I do care about people, and I do care about their feelings, and I do care about offending people, because that's just not who I am. I don't walk around with I don't care about anybody in society type of attitude. I don't do that. So, journal to heal, and that was day 10 done. And there was a time when her doing that to me would really upset me. And I mean, it would make me cry. I would be journaling to God. I would start to be like, am I wrong? Am I self-righteous? And just do all this. But that time I was just like, of course. And I feel like when I first started this book, I would have started to well up or tear up at some point throughout this video, and I haven't. So that just means that it hurts less and less. Okay, so that is day 10. We will get back to day 11. So just to give you guys an update, for those of you that know, I did have my pop-up yoga and brunch event. It was a success. The location was great. The women that came were great. The owner of the event space was so encouraging, so uplifting, wants to collaborate with me again, which is so amazing. And everybody enjoyed the flow. My really good friend, Robin, was just like, you did it. I'm glad that you pivoted. I'm glad that you decided to take ownership and make it something your own. She was like, the location is better, the food is better, the lighting is better. And it really was like, the space was so beautiful. If I was a vlogger and I knew how to do all those shots where you show the chandelier, and then I don't know how to do that, I'll post some videos that I posted on Instagram at the end of this. But it was such a great experience, and I'm so glad that I stepped out on faith and that I stepped into something new, something that feels like what they call purpose. And I really enjoyed myself. My other friend came, my neighbor came, my other friend came, and then they got in their inner circle, and Robin got, someone to come, and then that person got someone to come, and then Essence came. It was just a great experience. The next day, my friend Cece texted me and was like, so my arms hurt, and she had a smiley face. So that it's like, okay, so that means you're doing the work, you were doing the positions, because we was doing a lot of planks, we was doing a lot of up dogs. So it was a great experience, and I hope that if you've been rocking with the channel, shout out to CD, I hope you've seen the growth from doing this therapy book to doing the cognitive behavioral therapy workbook and all the other work that I do in between with my devotionals and praying, with running and, meditating and all that stuff. It's like, that's what's helping me. When she talks about that freedom of either going no contact or giving back the blame or, distancing yourself from toxic people, you do have the freedom to start to rediscover yourself and who you are. And I love that one. Dang, that was another one of their friends. But yeah, you do start to rediscover yourself, and you start to explore new things, and you start to realize that people are more for you than they are against you. I had so much encouragement in that. And my two friends, so I met Robin years ago when I was still a cosmetologist, and we worked together at a salon. And then my sister in Christ, Cece, we met in hair school. So we've been knowing each other about 14, 15 years. And I just felt like I appreciated the words that they spoke into me, and how they both are like, man, we've been praying for this, we've been waiting for this. It's like we see, we see that you're coming out, and I would have never done that had I not gone on that journey, because for so many years I was in that cat and mouse game. Like I said, this isn't the first time, this is the longest time that we've gone no contact. And that's because I decided I'm not going to chase. And I know who my mother is, and she is not going to reach out, but I don't feel God saying, go back and open up that relationship again, or get back into that again. Now, if she calls and, wants to, but don't go chasing anything, because that's what I did for so many years. It would be a year, and then I would do something, and then the cycle everything would be hunky-dory, all this time together, and then I would say something or do something that made her itched her nose or something, I don't know, and then it would be us going back and forth, and then it would be the silent treatment, maybe 2 years, maybe, and so it was this constant cycle. And Cece was actually has been along the longest to actually see it happen and what that cycle would do to me. And then once I started working with Robin would see it too, and they'd be like, oh, how's your mom doing? And I'd be like, oh, she's not talking to me. And I would tell them what happened. I would, show them text messages of like, well, what do you think? Like, was I this? Was I that? And it was just like, no, like, she's mad wrong. Like, she's insulting you, this and that. And so now that I have not given into that need to be the mender, that need to be the fixer. I haven't gone chasing. I've been able to go and chase so many different dreams and interests and opportunities. And so I hope that encourages you to finally distance yourself from toxic people, create a safe space for you, or if someone is silent treating you, to remain no contact, and just start to see how you can begin to blossom and open up and gain your confidence. And so I don't want this to get too long because my children's friends want to pray, and I know that they can hear the door. But yeah, so that was an amazing opportunity, and I really don't think, had I not, again, done all this work to heal, I don't know, would things be how they are now if the cat and mouse game was still going on? We don't know. But what I can say for today is that pop-up yoga event is something I've never seen myself doing, and something that was a success, and it was just awesome. So I also work at a gym now as a personal trainer. I'm an independent contractor. As a personal trainer, I have one client, and then I have someone that I'm going to be giving a consultation to Friday. So that's really exciting. I'm also a yoga instructor there. So I'm a yoga instructor there Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 a.m. Please pray for your girl, because getting up that early has been a struggle, but actually going to the classes has been very rewarding. So far, it's only 2 ladies that are there, but like the director was saying, like the more classes you do and the more popularity you'll gain, the more people will start to show up. So, you know, starting with 2, I'm cool. And we can just see how it grows. And I'm going to do this for as long as I can, making sure that I give them enough notice in advance of like, hey, this is just too much. So I'm testing it out now. I'm very much into listening to what works for me. I don't want to put any extra strain on my personal life. So, you know, it's just like, let me see if this is something that will work. I actually did a session this morning with the ladies. Today is Wednesday. And it went great and they enjoyed it. I asked them for feedback. They gave me feedback, but your girl is instructing yoga at the local community center. Like, who would have thought? Who? Not me. Look at God, because not me. I never would have thought that. But yeah, it was a great session. And also yesterday, which was Tuesday, had my 3rd session with the client that I do have as a personal trainer. And that went really, really great. And she always tells me like, who, you worked me, you kicked my A, and that's what I want. Her face was all pink and everything. And I was like, good, I want you to feel like you're getting what you paid for. So that's that. And then the last thing that's pretty exciting is today at 4. So my neighbor who has been just moving in her business, I've seen it grow from just earrings and wraps to her doing a fashion show, to her being asked by another designer to be a part of their fashion show on the 26th, which she asked me to model in. And I'm just like, I do it. But I did it because I want to step out of my comfort zone more and more and more. So that's why I'm doing it. But just to see that, and she's made so many connections, and she talked me up to someone who she was like, that person was like, would she be interested in possibly using some of the studio space that I have? And she was just like, I would even be willing to do something like a 3 months free so that she could build her clientele, build her following, and then we can discuss, you know, what her rent or leasing of the space would be. And I was like, absolutely, tell her to call me. And she called me last night and we talked, which I've met her before. She's a massage therapist and she's my neighbor's really good friend. And so I've met her before, we've interacted before, we've hung out before. But I just was like, okay, yeah, let's do some stuff. Let me come in, let me see the space, let me see the location that it's in. But yeah, another opportunity. And I'm like, 3 months free. And I appreciate that because she's like, I remember what it was like when I was trying to build my clientele as a massage therapist. And so that's why when she was telling me, when my neighbor was telling her what I was doing, that's why she was like, okay, let me see if I can help out in some way. And so I really appreciate that. So I'm going to be going to that later and I'm looking forward to it. So I just want to say, y'all, it's hard work and it is triggering to revisit trauma. Whether it's trauma in your childhood, something unfortunately happened to you in your teenage years, maybe not familial at all, but just some person doing something horrible. But whatever that is, invest in you. Because when you do things like this, and even when you talk about it, this is you, this is me investing in me. This is me doing something mentally strong, or it builds mental awareness, it builds self-confidence, it helps you understand what your triggers are, it helps you understand why you are the way that you are, it helps you embrace who you are, it helps you let go of things that don't serve you or support you. So yes, it is challenging. You're going to need to find routines and ways to love on yourself, whether it be through journaling, whether it be through meditating, whether it be through reading your word and just finding those really loving, encouraging verses that are in the Bible, because they are in there and they're in there for you. But you're gonna need to find some self-care, but definitely make a decision to put yourself first and to just go on that journey of healing. And it is a beautiful one. I thank you so, so much for rocking with the channel, for spending your time watching these videos. The love and support is amazing to me. Thank you so, so much. And just remember, I'm not gonna forget, remember to get out there and get after whatever your get after is, if you are able to get after it. I love you. God loves you so much more.